Taking those goods, he went through the market and somehow sold them, earning a small profit. He returned the full amount to his partner, and with his own share bought food items which he brought home to his brother Sa'd ibn al-Rabi. Sa'd was amazed. The man who had nothing in the morning came home in the evening bringing food for the family. Abdul Rahman continued going to the Jewish market every day, earning a little more each time. After a while, he realized, why not mix the butter and dates to make a famous Arab sweet dish called hais? He did exactly that, and his profits doubled. As his wealth began to grow, he met the Prophet one day. The Prophet noticed signs of celebration on his clothing. Abdul Rahman told him he had gotten married. He was the first muhajirun to afford marriage in Medina. The only other who could was Uthman. After marriage, Abdul Rahman's businesses continued to expand. He added horse trading to his portfolio, and noticing that every horse buyer also needed saddles and equipment, he added that business too. He then re-established the cloth, leather, and perfume businesses that Mecca's leaders had forcibly taken from him. Eventually, massive trade caravans under Abdul Rahman's name began traveling between Medina, Yemen, and Syria. He was finally ready to compete with the Jewish monopoly of Abu Rafi. His business philosophy was fundamentally different from the Jews. The Jews sold goods cheaply to each other and at high prices to others. Abdul Rahman sold at the same rate to everyone. The Jews often lied about their merchandise, selling inferior goods at premium prices. Abdul Rahman disclosed every defect up front, earning immense trust. The Jews extended large loans at interest. Abdul Rahman never borrowed. Every business was built with his own capital, bootstrapping. Customer complaints in his caravans were resolved immediately on the spot, much like today's Walmart and Amazon. Through these strategies, Abdul Rahman ibn Awf left all the Jewish merchants behind and became the wealthiest man in Medina. When someone once asked him how he had built such a massive empire, he replied, "I never picked up a stone without being certain that gold lay beneath it." Beyond his business achievements, Abdul Rahman stood bravely beside the Prophet in every battle, continuously funding the Muslim army from his personal wealth. In the Battle of Uhud, defending the Prophet, he suffered 21 sword wounds, so severe that he could never walk properly again after Uhud. He was so trusted by the Prophet that the Prophet once personally wrapped a black turban around his head with his own blessed hands and appointed him commander of a Muslim army, which went on to conquer its objective. After the Battle of Khaybar, the Prophet gifted him 2 of Khaybar's great orchards. One of the most remarkable incidents occurred during the Battle of Tabuk. The time for Fajr prayer arrived, and the Prophet had not yet reached the congregation. The Muslims chose Abdul Rahman ibn Awf as their imam and began the prayer. By the time the Prophet arrived, 1 rak'ah had already been completed. Rather than interrupting the prayer, the Prophet stood behind Abdul Rahman ibn Awf and completed the prayer with the congregation. Afterward, the Prophet told the companions, "You did exactly the right thing." Abdul Rahman ibn Awf is thus the only person behind whom the Prophet himself prayed. For this Battle of Tabuk, Abdul Rahman donated enormous amounts of gold, camels, horses, and half his total wealth to the Muslim army. Only Uthman donated more. Because of all this, the Prophet gave him the glad tidings of paradise while he was still alive. And before his passing, the Prophet asked his wives, the mothers of the believers, to be cared for after him. And it was always Abdul Rahman ibn Awf who looked after them. After the Prophet, Abdul Rahman was among the chief ministers of every caliph. Caliph Umar nominated him as one of the 6 senior companions to decide the next caliphate. Yet despite all this wealth and stature, he never considered himself above anyone. He arranged the marriage of his own sister to a companion who had once been a poor slave in Mecca, Bilal ibn Rabah. May Allah be pleased with him. When all the Muslims had gathered in Medina, the Prophet convened a great assembly and paired each migrant, Muhajirun, with a Medinan host, Ansar, as brothers. The Prophet carefully matched people of similar standing, farmers with farmers, businessmen with businessmen. When it came time to pair Mecca's wealthiest companion, the Prophet chose Medina's wealthiest man, Sa'd ibn al-Rabi, as Abdul Rahman's brother. As soon as Sa'd brought Abdul Rahman home, he said, "I am one of the wealthiest men in Medina. I wish to give you half of everything I own." But Abdul Rahman, may Allah be pleased with him, declined. May Allah increase your wealth. I only ask one thing. Show me the way to the marketplace. Saad took him to Medina's largest market, the Jewish marketplace, because at that time, the entire economy of Medina was controlled by the Jews. Their leading businessman was named Abu Rafi. The Jews had cleverly monopolized Medina's economy. Whenever a trade caravan approached the city, they would secretly buy up all the valuable goods cheaply before the caravan reached the market, then resell them at high prices to the Arabs. The Arabs knew this, but could do nothing, because their own leaders had taken large loans from the Jews at interest, riba. Abdul Rahman's greatest challenge was to establish himself in this firmly controlled Jewish market. On his very first day, he wandered through the market carefully studying it. After thorough observation, he understood exactly which business to pursue and how to make money there. But there was one problem. He did not have a single coin to his name. So he went to a Muslim shopkeeper and proposed a deal. Give me ghee, butter, and dates now without any money. I will sell them my way and return your full amount by evening. And we split the profit equally. Your product, my marketing. This model, known today as a profit-sharing partnership, Mudaraba, is one of the foundational concepts of Islamic finance, the Christian scholar's prophecy. It is said that once, while Abdul Rahman ibn Awf was in Yemen, he met a Christian scholar. The scholar asked him a peculiar question. Has anyone in your city of Mecca claimed to be a prophet of Allah? Abdul Rahman replied that nothing of the sort had happened and returned to Mecca. The following year, he returned to Yemen, and the same scholar posed the same question. Again, Abdul Rahman said no prophet had appeared. The third time Abdul Rahman visited, the scholar asked again. This time he said, according to my knowledge, the time for the prophet of Allah to appear in Mecca has come. Return quickly, accept his faith, and when you meet him, convey my greetings. Abdul Rahman was stunned, but the scholar was absolutely right. Because not long before this, Allah had chosen his final prophet in the cave of Hira in Mecca. Abdul Rahman returned directly to Mecca and told his close friend Abu Bakr everything. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, immediately took Abdul Rahman to the prophet. The moment the prophet saw him, he said, Abdul Rahman, I see the light of faith on your face. Now tell me the message you have brought. Abdul Rahman was amazed, and in that moment understood that this was indeed the true messenger of Allah. And so one of Mecca's wealthiest men accepted Islam, sacrifice for the faith. After accepting Islam, everything was about to change for Abdul Rahman ibn Awf. The powerful leaders of Mecca had turned against the Prophet and began persecuting the new Muslims. When conditions became dire, the Prophet gathered some companions and told them, staying in Mecca has become very dangerous. Go to Abyssinia, Ethiopia, where the righteous King Negus will surely take care of you. Abdul Rahman ibn Awf left everything behind, his entire business, and migrated to Abyssinia with the new Muslims, starting over from zero in a foreign land. After spending considerable time there, he returned to Mecca, where his large business was still established. But just as he arrived, the Muslims were now planning the Hijrah, the migration to Medina. As the time of Abdul Rahman's own departure approached, the senior leaders of Mecca came and sat before him, pleading, if you leave Mecca too, the entire economy of Mecca will be destroyed. Such was the scale of his wealth that his departure alone could have crashed Mecca's entire economy. But when he refused to stay, they issued an ultimatum. You may go, but you must leave all your business and all your wealth behind in Mecca. Abdul Rahman ibn Awf had two choices: stay in Mecca and live comfortably as a wealthy businessman, or leave everything behind and migrate with the Prophet to Medina, restarting life as a poor man. Without any hesitation, he left everything and departed empty-handed for Medina. He was the wealthiest companion of the Prophet, a man whose wealth even today would amount to billions, a man so rich the great Islamic Caliphate borrowed money from him. His name was Abdul Rahman ibn Awf. When the powerful Caliph Uthman named him as his successor, Abdul Rahman prayed, O Allah, take my life before Uthman's. And so it happened. When his estate was distributed, it was a remarkable sight. So much gold that axes were needed to break it apart. millions of gold coins, thousands of camels and horses, and vast lands. Today, his net worth is estimated in the hundreds of billions, perhaps even $1 trillion, dwarfing the fortunes of modern billionaires. This empire began after his merchant father's death, when a young Abdul Rahman took charge, expanding trade from Yemen to Syria and building a legacy unmatched in history.